So, and I agree with almost with everything you've said. My concern is, can you, and perhaps we can hear from the special agent, my concern is if you could only use a CNC machine to modify this, then there's an issue. But clearly somebody did something with a shovel.
Well,
I'm just, there's a lot going on here. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would like to ask the agent a question. Do you need that machine in order to make that plastic device that you just showed a few moments ago? Can you use that with through a 3D printer and still have the same results?
So the 3D printer technology is different than anything that's on the table currently. However, a 3D printed receiver would be, I guess, most similar to the black plastic one.
Can you show us?
Up. Sure, maybe.
Please do.
To answer your question, this version here would be most similar to a 3D printed gun. This is polymer, has a plastic touch and feel to it. This version could be actually turned into a working firearm with a Dremel and probably a hand drill that you could get at Home Depot. When I purchased this,
So I'm sorry. So in fact, you can purchase a $200 3D printer and produce that what you have in your hand.
I'm not that familiar with the 3D printer side of this, but I can speak to this object in my hand right now. I bought this for $100 at a gun show, and the person that sold me this sold me $20 worth of drill bits and showed me a YouTube video on how to turn it into a working firearm in about an hour, is what he told me. The metal ones are more involved, obviously because of the type of materials involved, but you're looking at with a CNC machine probably and a drill press, probably under 30 minutes. And then if you had probably less high-end tools, you're looking at an hour to 2 hours maybe with someone that's done it a few times in someone's garage on the more metal.
So you can do it with hand tools. You don't need a CNC machine?
A CNC machine is the quickest way to finish the metal ones. Mm-hmm. Then you can get down to drill presses, things like that. You could buy at Harbor Freight or something like that. There's
so the bottom line here is you don't need a CNC machine to do it.
No.
All right, fine. That was my major concern, was that if you did need a machine shop to make it, then then there's no difference between a block of aluminum and what you're trying to ban. If what you're trying to ban is then easily done, an hour or two with hand tools, then I can see that there's a difference between that and the block of aluminum. What we need in your bill is a better definition. I think we can go forward with that. So with that, I will then ask other committee members to have questions. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, this is the third one, right? We have one more after this? Okay, I'm getting tired. Mr. Gibson, first, let me just be clear. So that block of aluminum can be, and I'm sorry, the agent here in front of me, your last name? Graham. Agent Graham, that block of aluminum can be turned into a receiver with the use of common tools found in one's garage. Is that what you were saying?
No, ma'am.
No. That's all I need is a no or yes. Thank you. So it cannot be readily converted. So
we may have a question. Which block of aluminum? So the
one in front of
that one.
That one, right?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So Assemblyman Gibson, do you have data on? Because I'm reading through your comments about media reports on law enforcement have suggested that there's a growing number of firearms assembled from partially complete receivers and that they've been used to commit a crime. Do you have any data or statistics to suggest how many?
The Department of Justice, about 250 have been received. 250 ghost guns.
Have been received?
Have been seized.
Okay, have they been seized in the commission of a crime or
Absolutely.
just seized because one is not allowed to have it? How many of these guns have been...
These guns were
Let me be clear. How many of these guns have been used in the commission of a crime, as in shooting someone? Not as in just,
Bank of the West and recently also in Santa Monica. Ghost guns were used in both
so 2?
incidents.
Is that it?
Those are recent.
Any more?
Is 2 not enough
For what?
for a life?
Well, we're not debating the worth of one's life. We're talking about the need to put a law into place.
Okay, I think
to-
he's answered the question. And you've stated your
Okay.
concern.
All right. So that's what I want to be clear about. Is this the use of these unassembled weapons, has that become such a great problem that they've been used in the commission of so many crimes and murders that we now have to adjust the law to deal with them? That's what I'm trying to get at. And it sounds to me every life is invaluable in my mind as a mom, but so we're not placing value on life. We're talking about the appropriateness of putting a law into place. And so 2 seems like a low number in comparison to, when we have cars where we saw people were getting killed in car accidents because they weren't wearing something to restrain themselves, we put seatbelts in the cars because large numbers of people were getting killed in car accidents. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So I can't support this bill today for a number of reasons, most of which is because it is vague and because I don't really believe that it's necessary. But thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. Mr. Lackey?
Hey, if you want me to speak, I will.
You look pensive.
No, it's all good. I'll be very, very quick. I think it's clear that your intentions are noble, but I have to say that this is clearly way too vague at this particular juncture. It treats just a standard piece of metal as a firearm, and I don't think that that's good legislative policy for us to be pursuing it. And so, for that particular reason, I will be unable to support it.
Mr. Jones Sawyer.
I'm just going to let the author know that the chairman and I spoke about this, and obviously we were willing to move forward with this and let it get out of committee with the proviso that if we didn't get a clear definition, that hopefully this committee could bring it back. I think the suggestion from the chair that we hold it over for 2 weeks was totally appropriate, and I think it would be in your best interest to hold it over for 2 weeks to be able to hammer out all the vagaries of the bill.
Is that a motion? Well,
That was a suggestion.
why don't we just reschedule for 2 weeks, Mr. Gibson, if that would be all right? Then we'll get the definition right.
Are we going to finish with the?
Yeah, I think, yes, you may, did you have anything more to say?
No.
All right, I think we can just wait 2 weeks to get the definition right. Let's do that. And I apologize for not saying something sooner. Thank you.
Let me also, can I?
Okay, go ahead, please.
With the chair, we will regrettably bring this back in 2 weeks and continue to move forward with the intent of certainly strengthening the language in the bill. I think the intent is very clear. What was brought out on numerous occasions through this dialogue is that even though there is a block of metal before you that needs a specialized machinery, but there is also a plastic device there that can be used to manufacture by a $200 3D printer that will still produce this lower receiver, that will still, in fact, can be used as a weapon of mass destruction. When you represent a community who just buried a 1-year-old girl a few weeks ago while she was lying in her crib asleep, and a bullet came through her house and took her life, where you have a council member in my city whose 2 brothers, one was shot in the foot and the other was shot also several times in the chest, whose life was taken away. When we just this past weekend went to the California Democratic State Convention, while I was there, a mother and a son drove up to their driveway and was shot and killed in their driveway in the city in which I represent. We cannot afford to not do anything because people's lives are in fact being placed in jeopardy. So with Robin, Daniel, Harry, Juan, Aurora, those are a few names of the individuals in the San Bernardino massacre that in fact took place. We cannot afford not to do anything. I believe the national conversation is taking place in America with all the tragedy that is taking place. California need to continue to lead the way and be the example for the rest of the country. And I think by passing a good, tough piece of legislation, help preserve and save lives. So I would work with this committee and the chair to strengthen the language so that the individuals here can in fact have something before them that they can support. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Just a second. I'm going to have to check on what I have to say next legally. So we are just postponing the bill, and we'll bring it up in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Santiago, you have the last bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the time to be able to present on this. Today I'm presenting on AB 1674. And over last year while I've sat on this Public Safety Committee, we've looked at a number of issues to try to improve our public safety. And while at the same time we've seen gun violence increase across the nation, and particularly here in California. One of the things we found out that was shocking to me, if you take a look at national numbers, we found that there was about 300 million guns in the United States now. That would be one gun for every man, woman, and child in the United States, and that's shocking to me. And at the same time, we've seen violent crimes increase, and particularly those crimes related to guns. In fact, over the last decade, we've seen 1 million people either injured or killed by guns. And earlier today, I mentioned the fact, and that was that over the last that 143 weapons that were held by law enforcement over the last 3 decades, 72 of those exactly were long guns, and these were used in mass shootings. So as a policymaker, I feel the need to do something about this to try to decrease the amount of gun violence, while at the same time addressing the issue of gun trafficking. And to me, it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking that somebody can walk into a store after waiting 10 days and go through the background checks that they could buy 100 guns. In fact, we found out that in April 2014, there was a particular individual who walked into a gun store in California and bought 177 of these guns. I don't see any reason why anybody needs 177 guns. And neither the state nor local law enforcement can do anything about it. And what our bill seeks to do is bring parity into California's existing law, which now enables a person to buy only one handgun per month, per person. And we want to do parity with all guns at this point in time, including long guns, to be able to limit it to one gun per person per month. And in preparing our bill, we did our due diligence, and we did reach out to the opposition. We do have an interest in good, sound public policy. We're going to disagree on the premise of this bill, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But we do have an interest in doing good, sound policy, and there are some issues that we'll be taking a look at a little bit more seriously as we move forward, like estate transfers, raffles, fundraisers, issues of collectors that we'll be taking a look at. Well, I think these issues are compelling, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote when it comes time to do so. We have 2 witnesses who will introduce themselves, be brief, and thank you for your time, committee members.
Again, Amanda Wilcox with the 27 California chapters of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. We came together with our coalition of groups in California of gun violence prevention groups last summer and established that one of the priorities we wanted to work on this year was to curb the flow of illegal guns into communities impacted by gun violence. I mean, where do these illegal guns come from? Theoretically, with the exception of this lower receiver issue, or partial receiver issue, every gun starts out as a legal gun. And somewhere along the line, many of them are diverted into the black market. You know, how does a 16-year-old who caused the shooting of a football player near Grant High School last fall, how does a 16-year-old get a gun? And how come students in Oakland have told us that they have to take a bus to go buy school supplies, but they can go to the nearby corner and buy an illegal gun? So we know many of these guns, of course, are stolen, probably, but also many come from gun traffickers who buy guns in bulk and then resell them on the black market for profit. This was recognized in 1999, and the one gun a month bill for handguns, new handguns, was passed then. That bill should apply to long guns at this point. As we said earlier, long gun, and I know I guess there's disagreement, but from my data, nearly half the crime guns entered into the DOJ databases are long guns. We are seeing long guns used more in crime. I think maybe the rationale was a deer rifle is not as dangerous as a handgun. But remember, long guns now also include bullet button type military type weapons, and lower receivers, complete lower receivers, which can be assembled into military type weapons. We did a public record request to DOJ last summer and found, as was stated, that one person bought 177 guns in 1 month. You know, I'm not sure why someone would buy 177 at one time, and it could be they're turning around to sell them. But the key point is that 81.9% of long guns are sold as a single purchase. I know there's concern about how are our laws impacting law-abiding legitimate gun owners. Most gun owners will not be affected by this bill, but we do want to find those who are trafficking guns. Long guns and handguns in this regard should be treated the same, and I ask for your aye vote.
All right, a minute and a half for the Law Center.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we truly and seriously value the preciousness of every human life, then I think it behooves us again to look at where illegal weapons are coming from. And we know that this, too, is another loophole. Long guns and other firearms purchased in bulk sales are about 60% more likely to be used in crimes. And laws limiting multiple firearm sales have proven highly effective in other states at curbing illegal gun trafficking. For example, Virginia's one handgun per month law, in effect from 1993 to 2012, reduced the number of crime guns traced to that state's gun dealers and recovered in other states by 66 to 71%. California could more effectively build on our state's progress in reducing gun violence by extending existing bulk purchase limits on handguns sold by dealers to all firearm purchases. Quickly, I would also note that while placing reasonable limitations on individuals' ability to obtain 177 guns at a single transaction, this bill would still allow individuals to purchase 12 firearms per year, and additionally to loan or transfer firearms to family members and sport or hunting partners in a variety of circumstances as provided by existing law. Section 27950 allows a gun owner to loan a long gun to any licensed hunter for the duration of the hunting season. 27945 allows parents and grandparents to loan guns to their minor children or grandchildren for an unlimited period of time. It allows another individual to loan a long gun to a minor with the parent's permission for a month. Section 27880 allows a gun owner to loan a firearm to an acquaintance for up to 30 days.
All right, 4 minutes are up.
Okay, and the list goes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, other witnesses in support.
Nick Wilcox on behalf of the Nevada County chapter of the Brady campaign. Also, I would like to express support for the Friends Committee on Legislation of California. Thank you very much.
Mimi Budd, Sacramento County Brady campaign, asking your support on this measure. Thank you.
Pam Chirizo, Sacramento County Brady campaign, in support. Thank you.
Edlin Patterson, Grass Valley Brady campaign. Thank you for considering this. I fully support it.
Deborah Worth, Nevada County Brady campaign. I support this very strongly.
Maddie Hyatt, California Civil Liberties Advocacy, in strong support.
Diane Summer, Sacramento Brady Campaign, and strong support.
Again, Griffin Dix, Oakland, Alameda County, chapter of the Brady Campaign, and strong support.
Elise Furman, I'm Sacramento Brady, and I support this.
Mike Garrett, Rancho Murrieta, Sacramento Brady, and I support the measure.
Reese Donaldson, Elk Grove, and Sacramento County Brady Campaign. We support this.
Okay, witnesses in opposition? And Mr. Law Center, if we could make room for one more chair.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Craig DeLuz. I'm with the Firearms Policy Coalition in opposition. First of all, it's important to note that the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, is a constitutionally enumerated civil right. And any restrictions or limitations we place on a civil right ought to be only in the most drastic of situations with severe evidence that it will in fact make a difference. But let's be honest, we're talking about a constitutionally protected civil right. We wouldn't limit one's ability to be able to practice their freedom of religion by saying, well, yeah, you can practice your religion on Sunday, but on Monday you're not allowed to go to church. So no Bible studies, no midweek Bible studies. That's absolutely out. If you want to go and you want to exercise your free speech, you can write letters to the editor, but you're not allowed to, protest or have a protest rally or something like that. And the only foundation, this is odd to me, the only foundation for this is a 2007 study that was offered by the author in a different state during a different time under different gun laws. But if we're to use this as the impetus for legislation, that same exact study noted that almost 60% of those firearms that were purchased, that were found at crimes, were purchased by women. Are we going to limit women's ability to be able to purchase firearms? Another thing that it noted was a significantly large number of those were purchased by African Americans. Are we going to limit African Americans' ability to be able to purchase firearms? No, because simply because someone wants to purchase more than one firearm at a time does not mean that they are by definition a gun trafficker or interested in committing a crime, any more than if they were a woman, any more than if they were African American. I think that this bill flies in the face of the Constitution and our constitutional rights, and I believe that this bill needs to be voted down, and I would encourage you to vote no. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Mark Henley with California Waterfowl Association. Again, we're a wildlife conservation group. We represent hunters, but many of our members are landowners and other conservationists. I can tell you this bill is going to seriously impact our ability to raise funds for wildlife conservation purposes, us and a number of other hunting and conservation groups. The chance to win a firearm at a fundraising event is typically the primary draw for people coming to those events. And in some cases, they can win multiple shotguns and rifles depending on their luck during a given day. So all of that money then goes back for wildlife conservation purposes that is raised. It is also used to keep those nonprofits in business. If this bill passes, you're going to see a lot of those nonprofits hurting and less funding on the ground for wildlife. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ed Worth, the National Rifle Association. I want to quickly jump and ask your indulgence, sir. One of the things that wasn't mentioned in the bill is that the proponents very deftly forgot to tell you about a major part of the bill. Major part of the bill is not talking about what people go to the dealers and buy guns in the stocking trade of dealers. This also limits for the first time and dramatically changes the law that was originally passed, private party transfers. So what they haven't told you is probably the most egregious part of the bill. What it means now is if I wanted to liquidate my collection and I want to do certain things, I now go to a dealer and I broker through a dealer. What they're talking about are dealers, the guns in stock for dealers. What I'm talking about are what's called private party transfers that must be brokered through a firearms dealer. They're changing fundamentally the law that was passed for one gun a month. And it's not just an extension to long guns. Now they're going to ban the private party transfer between persons, private citizens, that are brokered through dealers to just one gun a month. So if you have a family estate, a family trust, if you have a collection that you're trying to liquidate, for legal reasons, perhaps a corporation has been canceled. Now what you're trying to do is you have collectors who are going to buy collections for specific things, like a museum or collectors who buy collections for different things. There are private citizens who are buying the guns as private citizens, and they have it as a collection. Well, again, the most egregious part of the bill is what they didn't tell you about, which bans private party transfers. So I appreciate your time, Mr. Chairman. We oppose the bill.
Great, thank you. Thanks again for all the folks who've testified today. Others in opposition?
Mr. Chairman and members, Sam Paredes, representing Gun Owners of California. And last week, the Appellate Court of Washington, D.C. declared this law to be unconstitutional. Just want to let you know that.
Roy Griffith on behalf of California Rifle and Pistol Association, oppose.
Mario Cunal of Yuba County, a voting citizen. I request that you reject this bill.
Ken Greenwood from Placerville, in opposition. This will seriously affect people's ability to transfer collections, and that's enough.
Will Clark, downrange. This actually will affect millions of dollars to DOJ's budget, which directly impacts public safety and also an individual's right to buy a firearm. So we strongly oppose that.
What organization?
Downrange.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll bet my Madam Vice Chair has a comment here.
You, sir, are correct. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to go first, and I will keep it brief. I know we're just about ready to wrap up here. Assemblyman Santiago, the last witness touched on what stood out to me in this bill, which was that I have an uncle who has a large collection of firearms, and should he pass away, he can't then give those to me, or only one a month?
Sure. Well, like I said in my opening statement, and I addressed it, that estates are something that I was willing to take a look at seriously. Look, we called in the opposition and said, give us the language to work with us on that particular issue. So unless anybody proves me wrong, and I don't know if the opposition that actually met with our staff is present, but I'd be happy to take a look at this in a more serious manner. I do believe at this point in time that I'm willing to work on that particular issue. And I said that in my opening statement.
Sure. Well, okay, that's great, because I wanted you to share, since you and I hadn't had any conversation about this bill prior to this committee hearing. That
yeah, and I appreciate it. Look, I know that you're.
You have a closing statement.
I apologize.
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
Did you want to address the raffles too?
No, I think you're being sarcastic.
He also mentioned that in his
right.
opening statement.
Although I will say I have been to events where they have had raffles, but I've never been fortunate enough to win any of them, any of the firearms. So going back to you made a statement about there was a gentleman who purchased 177 guns at one time. No.
2 transactions in 1 month.
Totaling 177 guns? Okay. And so that was back in 2014.
2014 April, yes.
And were any of those weapons used to commit a murder? Or a shooting?
I don't know if there's the data available to it, but the reason I mentioned it wasn't to link it to a crime happening. I just don't understand why somebody needs to have 177 guns, and that's the premise of this bill, is to limit the amount of guns that any one person can purchase.
So what I'm trying to find is nexus here, because if someone, it is your opinion that no one should want to purchase that many guns at one time, or should even own that many. We have a difference of opinion. We do have collectors out there and gun enthusiasts, and it doesn't mean that they're looking to kill someone.
Sure.
And Ms. Wilcox, I want to tell you that I always enjoy when you come to testify. You bring a different perspective to these conversations, and I very much appreciate it. So you don't understand why someone would want to buy that many guns, and that's fine, but it is my right as a private citizen, one who's not a felon, one who's certainly not wishing to do anyone any harm, to be a collector of firearms or choose to purchase more than one in a month, and not have the government limit my ability to do so any more than they limit my ability to buy knives or cars or hammers or bows and arrows or anything like that. So I think the more appropriate response to this issue that you're trying to get at is that we find a way to go after these straw purchasers in a more aggressive and effective manner than to tinker with the law in this way. That's my 2 cents. You don't need to. You can respond in your close, but I can't support your bill today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. Who would like to speak next? No? No? I guess we're getting tired. We're tired. All right. I think that leaves you up to a close.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Madam Vice Chair. I do want to mention 2 points, though. Number one, there's already statutory exemptions to allowing firearms to be donated to certain nonprofits. We're not changing that, and it's currently in the law. And second, if you look at page 1 in the analysis of this committee, item I, it does say that it exempts any person who is a licensed collector or has current certificate of eligibility issued by the DOJ. So any licensed collector would already be exempted from this. I just wanted to clear those 2 facts up, but I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All right. So what this bill is doing is to make the same criteria for purchases that we have right now for handguns to do the same for long guns. The author has agreed to work with the opposition on specific issues, raffles, private gun transfers, wills, somebody wills a whole collection to someone, and I think that's appropriate that they be worked on. I'm recommending an aye on this, and the motion is? Oh, we need a motion. Mr. Jones Sawyer? Second by Mr. Lowe. And the motion is do pass to appropriations. Madam Secretary, you may call the roll.
Quirk?
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Melendez? No. Melendez, no. Jones Sawyer?
Aye.
Jones Sawyer, aye. Lackey? Aye. Lackey, no. Lopez? Aye. Lopez, aye. Lowe? Lowe, aye. Santiago? Aye. Santiago, aye.
The measure is out 5-2. We'll work now on add-ons.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, AB 1597, Lowe. Lowe, aye.
Oh, absolutely.
Item number 4, AB 1663, Lowe. Lowe, aye. Item number 5, AB 1664, Lowe. Lowe, aye.